The new Picco₂ for hemodynamic monitoring in the emergency department, operating theatre and intensive care unit. The device can be operated intuitively via the touchscreen, the navigation aids and via the function keys. The touchscreen functions when you touch the screen. You can also enter numbers or text directly. Alternatively, you can use the navigation button. The white frame indicates the current position. You confirm all commands by pressing the navigation button. If you want to change the level with the navigation button, press the back key. The main menu brings you to the Start page. The on-off key appears as a green light when the Picco₂ is connected to the mains power supply. The key blinks when the battery is charging. When the monitor is on battery, please note the green light does not appear. Start the Picco₂ here. The help key can be used to get clinical and technical information, for example, the setup or normal values. The print key is used to start the paper printout or export the data to a USB storage medium as a PDF. In the middle is the mute key. This allows the alarm to be silenced for 2 minutes. During this time, the key lights up orange. The Picco₂ displays all the important information at a glance: the arterial or venous pressure curves, information about the patient, the battery status, time since last thermodilution, current time and alarm status, the patient's hemodynamic parameters, and various graphic displays of these parameters. Let's look more closely at the details. At a glance, you can see the heart rate, arterial blood pressure and CVP. Simply touch the screen for zero adjustment and scaling of the curve. If you touch CVP, the CVP curve appears for 15 seconds. Beside it are the parameter fields: flow, volume, organ function and oxygenation. You can configure each field individually. There are 3 possibilities for displaying the hemodynamic parameters. Spider Vision shows an overview of the current cardiocirculatory situation. Spider Vision is green when all the selected parameters are in the guideline range, yellow when 1, and red when more than 1 parameter is outside the guideline ranges. You can select 3 to 7 parameters for Spider Vision. The profiles show you the parameters in detail and in functional associations. You can assess the clinical course and the success of therapy from the trends. You can select up to 8 trend curves. With the navigation button, individual parameters at certain points in time can be traced back and displayed. Picco₂ operation is made easier by 3 direct access buttons. By touching, you arrive directly at thermodilution, calibration of the central venous saturation, and zero adjustment of the pressures. You'll find more information at www.picco₂.com. To use all the functions of the Picco₂, you need a central venous catheter, the CVOX probe, and the Picco catheter. The CVOX probe measures continuous central venous oxygen saturation. With the Picco catheter, you obtain a comprehensive picture of the cardiocirculatory situation and possible pulmonary edema. It is easiest and safest to work with the kits. They include everything you need for CVOX and Picco monitoring. Placement of the CVOX probe is quick and uncomplicated. It is advanced through the distal lumen of a central venous catheter. A central venous catheter that is already in situ can be used. CVOX probes are produced in a variety of different lengths. Prior to introduction, the correct length of the CVOX probe must be determined. It is important that the tip of the probe projects 2.5 centimeters beyond the end of the CVC. The first step is to read off the length of the CVC, for example 20 centimeters. The second step is to add the distance from the last length mark to the Luer lock of the distal lumen. In the example, this is 13.5 centimeters. The third and last step is to add 2.5 centimeters to this and then round it up. In this example, the appropriate probe would be 36 centimeters long. Alternatively, you can determine the appropriate probe with the probe indicator. The choice of appropriate Picco catheter is guided by the patient and the site of insertion. The catheter is usually introduced to the femoral artery. The 20 centimeter catheter is most commonly used. The 22 centimeter or even the 16 centimeter in small patients can be used. You can also insert the Picco catheter in the auxiliary or brachial artery. Catheters with a length of 7 or 8 centimeters are suitable for the auxiliary artery. You can also insert in the brachial artery at the elbow, and the appropriate catheter is 22 centimeters long, or if you enter it at the level of the upper arm, you can use the 16 centimeter. For certain indications, a special Picco catheter can be placed in the radial artery, for instance during an operation. In children, thin catheters 7 or 8 centimeters in length are placed in the femoral artery. As with all arterial catheters, it is important that you monitor the peripheral circulation while it is in situ. You'll find more information at www.picco2.com. The Picco₂ is clearly laid out and user-friendly. In front are the touchscreen, function keys and navigation aids. The cable connections to the patient are at the side, and the mains, power switch and other possible connections at the back. The cable sockets are color-coded. At the top is the blue socket for central venous saturation measurement, that is, for the optical module of the CVOX probe. Below it is the orange socket for cardiac output measurement, that's for the temperature cable. This is followed by the arterial pressure socket in red. A further pressure measurement can be plugged in at the bottom, for example for CVP. On the back is the mains switch and the socket for the mains lead. Beside it are the socket for potential equalization and interfaces for USB, LAN and RS-232. Moreover, data can be transferred to printers, storage media or patient management systems. The sockets for transferring the pressure signals to the patient monitor are on the extreme left. First, switch on the power on the Picco₂. The battery is charged only when the power switch is turned on. Then press the start key. After an acoustic signal, the start screen appears. Now you can either continue the monitoring of a patient, for instance when he or she returns from surgery, or connect to a new patient. Then touch New Patient, Yes. Touch the input fields in order to input the patient details by touchscreen or navigation button. Apart from the name, enter the height, weight, adult or child category, and gender. The details must be correct so that the later measurements will also be determined correctly. When you are finished, touch Exit. Now you can prepare everything for the measurements. You'll find more information at www.picco2.com.